Hi folks, it's Switchback. If you've seen my bear canister video, I did mention that I hate Ursacks. I'm going to go into that more in a minute, but first and foremost, pay attention to the rules, regulations, and even the recommendations for where you're headed. Sometimes the recommendations come ahead of the regulations actually changing. And not only do we need to protect our food and ourselves and in the long run other campers, but also the bears. Because bears who become habituated to people and associate people with food end up either getting relocated, which doesn't often go very well, or they get put down. What is the appeal of an Ursack? Well, it's lighter and easier to pack than a bear canister. It's easier to deal with than doing a hang. Your criteria for a tree is different than a hang. You really don't have to have branches that are long and high enough. You just really need to have a solid surface to tie it around. And so while you don't have to hang it, of course, you can. However, across all of the models of these, there are a lot of downsides. One, they're actually as expensive, if not more expensive, than a bear canister. As of filming this, they go anywhere from $110 up to $260. You need to have something secure to tie it to, such as a tree usually. There's a certain level of skill required in tying it closed correctly, and again, tying it to something correctly. It's a little bit water resistant, but of course not nearly as much as a bear canister would be. At best, if a bear does encounter your Ursack, everything is crushed, destroyed, smushed, covered in bear saliva. They can puncture anything that's inside of it. Bears in a lot of areas have learned how to breach an Ursack, and in many areas they're not allowed because of this. That includes wilderness areas, national parks. I know the Sierra, not a good idea to take an Ursack. It doesn't really keep out small critters, and I've seen now that the newer models don't have Velcro on the top, that it's even easier for mice to get into the top. And if a bear does get it detached from a tree, it's very easy for them to drag it off, never to be seen again, versus a bear canister, which is very difficult for them to grab onto. That's part of the design. If you look at the reviews of these, the people who have had good reviews are not people who have actually had encounters with bears. And the ones who have had encounters with bears, I've only seen one that had anything positive to say, and it was because she had the liner in it, which has actually been discontinued. I saw one review with that, and then one review with it that said that it ripped her bag. Everybody else who has had a bear encounter has complained that, of course, their stuff was destroyed, their food was destroyed, they couldn't eat it, that it was completely breached, the bottom of it shredded open and all of the contents gone or destroyed. I was looking online to see who sells these, and I saw that Moose Jaw and Mech and several other retailers don't sell them. Backcountry only has one, RERA only has a couple, and these are all places that do sell bear canisters. So what are your options? Again, look at the rules and regulations for where you're going, along with the recommendations. For example, in Desolation Wilderness, I know I talk about Desolation Wilderness a lot, I'm very familiar with it. They were recommending bear canisters long before they were required, and that was just because, the changes in regulation, it's a whole bureaucratic process, not very swift, not very fast. But bears have taken down good hangs there. They have certainly breached Ursacks. So a canister is now finally required, but it was recommended long before it was ever required. Another option is using an OpSack to reduce the bear's interest in your bag. OpSack is an odor-proof sack, and a lot of people will use these and then even double them up and then put everything else in Ziploc bags on the inside, so it sounds like a lot of plastic waste and a lot of bulk. You can also hang your food if it's allowed, if you are confident in advance that the trees are suitable for it where you're going, and if you know how to do so properly. And to be fair, most people don't. Otherwise, use a bear canister, and again, use it properly. A lot of these stories about breaching bear canisters are about user error where it wasn't completely closed. For example, bear vaults require that you close the lid past 2 clicks, and sometimes it'll be just past 1, and that's where a bear was able to breach it. Not all bear canisters are created equal, and it's important to know what is allowed and required where you are going. For example, Yosemite, Sequoia, Kings Canyon National Parks all have a list of specific bear canisters that they allow. So make sure that you do your research before any trip. to see what all should go in with your food storage container in addition to food, and to see how to shop for a bear canister, how it works, how to use one properly, click on this video right here. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe out there. I'll see you next time. Bye.